welcome back, everybody, to the Breachers VRML preseason week number 4. My name's Nightfire with 2 E's, and we are jumping into a high-tier matchup this afternoon. Ultraviolent versus Laughing Stocks, a highly sought-after match to be cast. Ranked 16 and 17, dueling it out worldwide in a game of Breachers, a 5 versus 5 search and destroy style shooter. If you're familiar with Rainbow Six Siege, it is a lot like that, but in virtual reality. The attacking team trying to attack one of 2 objectives and plant the EMP, technically to defuse the bomb. The defending team trying to prevent that from happening over the course of several rounds. Ultimately, the first team to 7 points takes the map. We play 3 maps out in a best-of-3 series to crown a champion at the end of the day. Again, excited to get into our preseason week 4 matches because these matches are teams that have had their MMR established at this point. We're looking at both of these squads. They've both played 5 matches. They've won 4 and lost 1. So we're looking at a pretty similar, in theory, skill level between these 2 teams, and I'm very interested to see them duke it out. We're getting our resident casters involved in here as well. As you may see in the rosters below, on Ultraviolent, we do have Ripster and Filibust, and happy to showcase, again, maybe one of my favorite co-casters so far in the Breachers squad, Phil. They are a fantastic caster, and maybe internally, okay, on the casting team, we're rooting for them at the very least. But, yeah, we're going to go ahead and give them the ready. And we should be jumping into map number 1 here, which looks to be Factory. An exciting start to this series. Factory, I feel like kind of a nice even keel to the start of the series. I feel like Hideout and Skyscraper tend to trend one way or another a little bit more heavily than Factory does. I feel like I've seen more back and forth on the Factory map, and that is, of course, just my experience. Sure, it differs from person to person, but the round 1 start has been hit, and we are diving in to map number 1 here. Oh, there it is. Just took a second for the game to pop in, but with Ultraviolent on the defense and Laughing Stocks on the attack, we are going to dive into our pistol round to kick things off. On the second floor, or is this the top? No, the second floor. Curious to see what the plan is on the attack. Looking to hit that outside lobby. Likely go, maybe a little higher. Ooh, this could be a hatch play. But it's a duo, so where's the rest of the squad going to be rotating in from? Wow, the total opposite side of the map. This takes some coordination coming in here from the Laughing Stock squad for them to be synced up with their team all the way across the map. They're hitting both A and B together. It's I feel like I've seen most teams at the high level tend to stick together as a squad, but with Cheek clearing through here on this door window, they're not going to see Stanky. Space does catch a kill through the duo break gun through that top floor on the other side of the objective space, but for now it is just a holding pattern. So we wait to see how this pinch comes together. In particular, we'll try and bounce between Space and Hollow, who's part of the other trio on the other side. Although even then, Hollow seems to be broken apart from the trio. Alrighty, we're breached in. Stanky finding some shots over the top. King catches the kill. Jack Possible still inside as Utility starts to come through now. One goes down. Ripster finds their first kill, but the breach is here. Ultraviolet have control. Where is the EMP? It's on Hollow through the hatch, looking to jump down through A. Phil seems to be on a rotation. But it's all quiet here on these swings. Crouched down, does not want to give away any of their location. King pops out. There's the swing in from Ripster, the pinch, and they find both kills beautifully. A nice job to retake control the B. It's a shame they didn't have EMP in hand. We'll have to go over to Hollow and Cheek, who have made their way inside the other side of the building, and we're a little out of sync. You know, this is one of the harder things if you're going to split like that to do, is sync with the rest of your team. They really needed to be diving down A while Phil was pushing onto the B squad. You know, the comms maybe just weren't necessarily there, but ultimately it's a lot of rotating around on the outside. Not a lot of movement into objective, and this could be a little bit too late of a swing. Ripster is up here waiting. And they're going to hear Hollow and Cheek. Oh, and that drop down is going to be heard by Hollow and Cheek, though, so Ripster's location definitely known. They're tucked in, the team's swinging, the EMP plant comes down, Cheek's there to fend it off. Here comes the retake from Phil. They can't catch Cheek. Jack possible, can they find the shots? They do. Hollow plants down, and Jack ducks behind the shots. Gets the reload in from the Taurus, and has to fight, has to hit that. That's what they needed, and they'll be able to take the EMP plant, defuse, excuse me. That means the round will go to Ultraviolent. Still, though, 200 into the pockets of Laughing Stock, so ultimately instead of 1,500 on a losing round, they'll get 1,700. Ultraviolent will get 2,500 on their round, and so still a substantial bit of more cash, but typically between rounds 1 and 2, they stick to the pistols. Sometimes, if the cash allows it, in the case of both Ripster and Jack, they could buy into Vezins, hand those to their teammates, and equip them with the proper attachments, which we're seeing Ripster doing right now. They've bought into the Vezin. They don't have enough cash to put any attachments on it, so they're calling for their team. They'll toss that over, and then you'll see he'll get back a fully kitted out Vezin in hand. They will do that for both Ripster and Filibust, the sort of 1 and 2 punch on the Ultraviolent squad. Laughing Stock's not able to buy into any rifles, nor really wanting to. They want to save, especially off of that round loss, but this is going to be tough. In particular, both Ripster and Phil have the responsibility now of not wasting these rifles, meaning that they should not throw themselves in to the fray and potentially provide rifles to the attacking squad. They really got to almost sit back more than the rest of the team, allowing these pistols to lead, allowing the Taurus and the Cyclones from Stanky, Jack, and Weak to lead. And if my memory serves correctly, Jack actually very good with that Taurus, and Phil catches Stewart out. The trip mine starting things off. The entry here. They've opened up A. They have Overwatch through the window, and Ripster finds the headshot. Cheek goes down. Space will challenge next. Ripster. It is not going well. Jack finds a headshot as they try and enter it, and the duo's stuck on the outside. Stanky may just challenge. They may come flying out of the window. Oh, and a full rotation. They got to do something. No kills on the board. That's no cash, and that's Ultraviolent very comfortably in the lead economically. Minute 50 left on the clock. What is the play here? A hatch play, maybe? Do they have breaching foam? Yes, both have breaching foam. Oh, maybe a swing to B. Yeah, B is not a bad one. You can hatch, I think, from this. No, I'm thinking of. Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking of the objective that they're next to, and a big shot there. Space catches Stanky. The Taurus zipping just past Space's head. I think they just detonated an old breach to a hatch that they ended up not going down to plant this one. Are they not going to go through this, though? Man, it has been tough to figure out for me what laughing stocks are going to be doing here. And I think that's the idea, is that they're trying to throw off their opponent with these rotations, these swings. They are running out of time, though. And they're about to run right in to one of the defenders in the corner, who is being nice and patient, tucked in. Catches that kill out. Ripster finds the other. Only one death with an over-aggressive Stanky, and Ultraviolent are up 2-0. Comfortably in the lead. If you are just stopping by, you're here for map number 1 of what I do anticipate to be a pretty good series. Laughing Stocks, no joke. Again, they've won four matches out of 5 so far in this preseason. They've definitely shown that they can beat teams confidently. To me, an indicator that they understand how to work the economics of the game, and we are seeing one of those economic strategies in round 3. We're seeing 3 rifle buys, an RCP, and a pistol save. So you're seeing Hollow and Cheek essentially saving a little bit of extra cash so that if they lose this round 2, that they will then go into the next one with a couple of rifles, or at least some utility options if they wanted to eco and save, so that then everyone could buy into rifles. But it is still going to put them at a slight disadvantage, although you can look at Jack Possible with a pistol and say, well, they also only have 4 rifles on the side of Ultraviolent, but Jack with that Taurus almost might as well have a rifle. They're able to play that confidently during rifle rounds, and that's part of Ultraviolent's economic strategy. It's all about managing your money as Stewart finds Filibust. Not sure where that was through. Weak moves. Refrag onto Stewart. The push coming through here on the outside. An aggressive bit of play coming through as King finds the first couple of kills. I was anticipating the rotation to come through onto A at Jack Possible, and here it is. The smokes are out. But again, where is the synced up attack from both sides? Cheek. Space, Hollow, no one breaches through. The smoke here going to waste. King continues to rotate around. That was a headshot through the smoke, or through the unbreached wall. Me oh my. 3 rifles now because they've picked one up off of their downed opponent. Jack Possible taking some shots. Space here. There's one. King finds the refrag, and Hollow able to enter in through the window. A in their control, and Stanky, the last 2, be able to retake. They do have a Vezin in hand. But it's going to be tough when everyone's watching all of the angles of entry point. They had 3 left alive. And that's an EMP plant, a round win, and ultimately Laughing Stocks in clean control economically now. Although I say that knowing that Ultraviolent are able to still full buy here into this next round because they won 2 in a row. But that was a big one. Laughing Stocks really needed that. They invested heavily by going with the 3 rifles and an RCP. If they had lost, they would have essentially been sitting now at a position where they could not buy into almost anything. It would have been maybe 2 rifles. But we're seeing the strategy here of Ultraviolent. Jack using that Taurus, saving money, equipping everyone else's rifles with attachments, enabling everyone else to buy fully kitted out Vezins for their round. On the attacking side, curious to see what the spread looks like, but I imagine it's going to be a bit of a spread. An off 1 or 2 split with the it seems to be that that's the common trend in their approach, at least so far. It's the 1-1-3 split. Something I don't think I've seen much of in Breachers yet. It's either the whole team stacks together or 3-2 splits. In this case, we are actually seeing a fully stacked up team here. Made their way into the outside of B. Cheek up over the top. Ripster catches kills on the upper floor. roaming around aggressively as blind fire comes through. Everyone stacked up inside. A lot of utility coming through, and it's a good thing that space backed off. King catches a shot just through. I think that was blind through that wall on the corner. They'll rotate in, looking for more. Phil and Stanky are here, but Stanky is gone. Phil's still tucked in. The static emitter preventing entry for King right now, and there are the shots coming in over the top. Ripster finds some good shots onto the shoulder. Weak moves, catching Hollow, trying to enter in through the other door. And King battling it across the space. This seems to be Laughingstock's MO. Hit from multiple angles. Filibust applying pressure. Catches that kill, and Cheek tries to rotate in, but realizes there's a static emitter at their feet, and Filibust catches a second. Hey, 1v3 is what we're left with. And Space may be inclined to save at this stage. One v 3 not impossible. Oh, and the EMP is actually on the... Oh, and that's... I think they had a Vezin in hand, so... Yeah, if they rotate over to this EMP, they should be picking up a Vezin. From there, they could save. They don't need to. Cheek and Stewart are low, but Hollow and King could buy 2 rifles in. Oh, but there's Phil, who rotated up after hearing those shots. They'll catch the kill on that second floor. Puts Ultraviolent up 3-1, and Laughingstocks not necessarily on the back foot, because like I said, they have the economy to full buy here. If they lose, they can continue to at least get a couple of rifles like they did when they won their first and only round so far. A big one coming up. They really need to, if they want to tie the set 3-3 before we swap sides and reset economy. They have a little bit to go ahead of them. But they are set up. They have utility, they have the breaches, they have the health syringes, a flash in the hands of Stewart with the... Oh, now traded to Hollow. Looks like a setup around A with the trio here. Meanwhile, a breach coming through, also down onto A. They'll just be coming in through the other side. And the one that actually first find the action may be the weak moves. Oh, and they could spring a bad trap here. King is ready for it, though. Snaps to the headshot and finds one right away. Audio transmitter is taken, and Stewart has a Vezin in hand. Nade tossed to get rid of the door blocker, but it does not. And was that a defensive or offensive demolition nade? I don't know. Smoke is out. Stewart's going to try and plant around the corner of the wall. The nade there deters that from happening. They do wisely back off. Meanwhile, Jack and Ripster are pushing in. Where's the rest of the team? They've been shot as they've tried to enter, and now Stewart's getting collapsed on. They find one. They swing out for the second, but Ripster shuts that down. In the chaos, Hollow's alone. 1v3. Rest of the attack got shut down trying to enter in there on the other side there. Some dangerous rotations. Especially considering Hollow can be peeking through here. Again, especially considering the economy, might be wise to try and save. 1v3 is winnable. But if Hollow can hold on to this rifle... which I think seems the be the... Well, no, they're looking... They're trying to find anything. And Phil... Could be that anything. Oh, I don't think they saw the barrel sticking around the corner. Phil, patiently waiting at the window, catches the headshot onto Hollow, and with 3 left alive, the ultra-violent squad fend off another Laughingstock's attack. And so far, a solid defensive set coming in from Ultraviolent. We go into our final round before swapping sides. Laughingstock's able to full buy in because of the way they've managed their economy. It's interesting to see the different ways people... 1 second. Okay, apologies there. Just in time, though, for the breach. And again, so split up. Hollow and Sheik working in through one side. Shots coming in from the upper floor from space. They already found one... Something. Who are they fighting? Filibust up here. And Filibust has been the roamer. Stanky catches a kill. Fights everywhere breaking out here. Weak moves could be pushing in, too. There's one. Hollow and Space are here. A nade comes up and Space pushes out. Weak moves starting to push down now. That nade finds a kill as well. Down to Hollow and King. Very interested to see how Laughingstocks defend. With this kind of offensive strategy, their ability to coordinate could lead to a solid defensive team. Obviously, they're also not too shabby at attacking. They've taken Ultraviolent down to 2v2s, 2v3s several times so far. But they are not really finding anyone right now because of the way that this team is defending. They're just not even really on objective right now. I think... Oh, and this is because the EMP, they have EMP control. So that makes sense. No reason for them to be on the objective. Ultimately where now Hollow and King are expecting them to be. When EMP is well in their control. And I wonder if Hollow and King are going to realize that they have to make this rotation. But they are definitely spending time full clearing out the objective space. And they're just not going to find anyone. A nade comes around, just almost hitting Hollow, but a little bit too late. Hollow there peeks out and weak moves, finds the headshot. Leaves King alone. Now realizing that the defense is here at the EMP, and as they push out, so does weak moves. King with 1 HP left, able to survive. Gets the health syringe off as well. Ultimately, though, doesn't get the EMP plant in time. One of the rare rounds I've seen come down to time. King so locked into the rhythm of things that they didn't even realize that was round 6. They were collecting extra utility just in case they were going to advance on to the next one. But it's the reset, and it's 5-1 into Ultraviolent's hands. Laughingstocks now get the chance to defend. And like I said, I do think their ability to coordinate as spread out as they were on the attack, could lend itself nicely onto the defense. So we'll have to see how they battle against this as Jack says hello to the defense, waving their hands through the wall. We've seen a couple of interesting interactions like that so far. But where is the rest? 3 here. Ooh, and Stewart getting aggressive inside the hangar area. Ultimately, no one pushing in through those double doors that they're waiting for, but they may end up rotating around to find 1 or 2 through this breached way. In the meantime, rest of the defense set up around B and the attack. No one even entering in yet. That's because Weak Moves doing a little bit of drone work. They'll identify 2. And that's some good information for this team to work with. Already, again, inside now. Well in control of the B and the breach into it. That's opening it up. Space and Cheeks still holding things down, but that doesn't last for long. Space goes down. Cheek backs off of B. Hollow does catch Phil, rotating around towards the other side of A. Nice double tap there from Cheek over the top through the breached hole. More fights breaking out with Stewart on the backside. Fending off the entry in. And a minute 40 still left, but Ultraviolent getting picked apart on their pistol round. Not able to get through this barrier. Stewart does get tagged up big time trying to drop back. Ripster found those shots over the top. King somehow scoops that one up. One can't find the headshots they need. It could have been a 1-2-3, honestly, with how low the trio was that was swinging there. Both King, Cheek, and Stewart all just needed to be hitting the chest with how low they were on the HP. Fortunate, though, that those shots don't connect. If it was going to be anyone, it would be Jack Possible with the Taurus. But that is the first defensive round into Laughingstock's hands. Ultraviolence need 2 more to take map 1. We go to our next objective on the top floor. Yeah, and they're going to want Overwatch from the upper deck. Maybe Phil will... Oh, looks like a breach actually coming in there for the hatch. Full entry, though, into A side so far. The play to work up towards B. Audio transmitter giving away some information, and everyone inside. A stacked up squad. This is what I was talking about. Some teams, like Ultraviolent, prefer to stay a little bit tighter together. There's the breach into A. Phil tries to push in. Hollow fends that off. Rotates back off of A. And King scoops up one on the other side. What is the play from Ultraviolent? Jack almost rotating completely out as Phil takes some good damage but catches Hollow. When Nade comes through and Phil avoids that one. Can't get out of the space though, and Weak Moves almost catches space. Jack Possible rotating in, catches that shot. King not going to swing out of the door blocker. Does there, and it's a battle of the Tauruses. Jack takes one in the shoulder. Rotates off, and there's the over the shot shoulder from Cheek, who finds the double on the weak moves, and Jack on the pistol round, and Ultraviolent are not in control. Laughing Stocks here looking good economically, but a full buy from both sides considering how they saved. Go back down to the bottom floor. And we'll see what the play is on to A and B here. But so far, Ultraviolent have almost been pushing in as a group into what is a very spread out net from Laughing Stocks that then seems to be kind of collapsing around the Ultraviolent team. I wonder what the counter is, and maybe it's to split up a little bit. Almost throw a bunch of 1v1s at them. See who wins. Jack, with Taurus in hand, leads the charge just to make sure no one's out of place. But Stewart definitely is in an interesting off-meta position, I would say, or maybe a meta one, but it's definitely away from the objective. Holding the hanger, waiting for anyone to really make their way through here, and they could catch one or two if they're fortunate with how this rotation ends up working. It almost feels like Ultraviolent may end up swinging out here and starting their setup on the outside of B after taking control of this space, essentially clearing out all of this upper floor. I won't expect the last piece of it to have a defender in it. Tucked in like this, no less. Hatch is pinged, though. Utility is coming down. If they are so far away from objective and don't push in, it could end up leaving them at a bit of a disadvantage on this entry point because Ultraviolent do stack. Oh my gosh, and those bullets just careening over the top of King. They do tag a shoulder. King has the health syringe and they'll tuck in. And Phil here at B, ready to work their way through. Jack possible on the overwatch, looking for the headshots. Can't find one on the King. There's Phil trying to push in. That nade, fortunately for them, doesn't go too far through the hole. And Ripster's still holding the doorway, waiting for the rotation to come through. The peek is here as Hollow finds one up top. Stewart goes down, and Filibust finds the headshot. A quick heal keeps them going as they use one of two health syringes. Now Ripster peeks out to find another kill, and it's the duo taking control of B here. Space doing some good damage. Phil tries to push in. Hollow goes down right after. Nice refag from Ripster over the top, and it's a 1v2 with Space trying to hold things down. Stewart's there. Stanky, excuse me. Ripster just flies through. Back exposed, goes down. Space tries to find the headshots and chips away at Stanky's HP. But Stanky perseveres onto the corner, finds the kill. Gets the EMP plant in time for another 200 cash into the pocket. And Ultraviolent, no, I don't know if they got that extra. But they have enough for several rifles and are a round away from taking the map. Laughing Stocks have been looking good on their defensive sets, and ultimately, Ultraviolent only took one. Oh, excuse me, Laughing Stocks only took one on the attack, much like Ultraviolent have here. It's a matter of putting 2 rounds on the offensive on the board and netting them map number 1 here on Factory. We then go to Hideout or Skyscraper. Sorry, I was blanking. Skyscraper, I feel like with a team like Laughingstocks may favor them on the attack. Hideout, I think, lends itself more towards a coordinated push with everyone pushing in. And Stanky just breaches through and finds King on an aggressive hold. But that's the opening. I don't even know if Stanky was expecting to get that kill. But they got it. Rest of the team works their way over to Ripster. The hatch is open. Utility coming down. Space is here to fend off a push. Cheek also over the top. Oh, but Ripster, everyone drops down to the hatch. Cheek thinking about peeking out. They go down to Phil. Nice shots over the top. Full control here into the hands of the offense as Stanky and Jack on the backside find the final kill for Ultraviolence to take the map and advance up 1-0 in the series. My button's not working. Oh, we'll figure it out. Seven 3 into the hands of Ultraviolent. You can see 13 and 6 coming through for Filibust. Ripster 10 and 6 representing the caster squad pretty nicely. Love to see that. I'm sure both squads will be ready to go right into the next map 2. But voting coming to an end now, and we'll see where we are headed. It looks like Hideout. Ultraviolent already securing map number 1. If they can take the second one, they'll win the series. We'll play the third map out regardless because the amount of rounds won determines how much your win matters, how much you go up or down in rank. And looks like we don't have to wait too long. We are getting ready to dive in to round number 2. Apologies for that graphic. Map number 2 on Hideout. The defense starting with Laughingstocks, the attack Ultraviolent. And like I said, I feel like this almost is more of a map that lends itself to the coordinated push style of Ultraviolent. Especially with this first objective here on B. I know they have several good solid plays to breach in through here, both from the hatch, the door, and this breachable wall. Interesting to see no play just yet, though, and King is positioned up here waiting for, I believe, the rotation over to this hatch. And if it doesn't happen, then they will push in from the backside. Oh, and they could really catch out a couple of this attacking trio here. Reaches here, though, and Ripster pushes down. They've opened up B. Static emitter is preventing a little bit of entry through that breachable door. But no one else is really home on B, and the EMP plant should be coming down. Hollow and Cheek not wanting to retake, and Stewart's still on that upper floor. So, yeah, B is well in their control. Stewart is going to rotate around down through the stairs. Will be challenging shortly here. Weak moves, catches a couple of bullets to the chest. King tries to push in. Stanky shuts that down. Over the shoulder shots from Cheek as Stewart makes their entry. Phil goes down, and it's the retake coming in from Laughing Stocks. Ripster scoops up one. The EMP plant's down, so they don't need to stay too aggressive, and that's why they're dropping back on the outside here. The only one that is still here is Weak Moves. Hollow goes down, and Cheek on the corner getting pinged. They'll win the fight. EMP won't get defused, and Ripster will be able to fend off the final attack. Defender, I should say. Almost was an attacker, though, the way they had to retake the objective. Map 1, though. Round 1. Into the hands of... Map 2, round 1, excuse me. Into the hands of Ultraviolent. Again, just making sure everything looking good. I appreciate everyone stopping in. If you are just tuning in, you can't catch this action live on X Stadium, an app you can download on the Quest or Quest 2, and you can watch these games along with a bunch of other real sports matches in VR on a giant movie theater-sized screen with other folks. It's a really cool way to hang out in a lobby and enjoy the streams with your friends. Would recommend checking it out if you have the opportunity. It's a breach in, and Cheek trying to battle here. The drone's out, and Philibus catches shots over the top. Looks like Stewart on a rotation as Space tries to fend off the push. EMP plant's coming down. And this is a bit of a play coming through. Jack doesn't find the headshot. Stewart still hasn't rotated around behind, and before they can even get here, Jack and Phil find their kills, and Phil turns around in time to find the flank. Ultraviolent well in control here on the attack. And they go up 2-0 on map 2. I know when I talked to Phil, they were disappointed that they even lost one game in the preseason. They're very clearly showing that they are focused here in this series going up against Laughing Stocks, despite what I would say was a bit of a rough start for them, with Laughing Stocks coming out strong on map 1. They ultimately recollected themselves, put up a solid fight, and are now really riding a lot of momentum going into the second map. 2-0 lead. Full buys from, no, just from Ultraviolent. Yeah, Laughingstock getting nothing out of those last 2 rounds. Let me go back to an objective that they did not successfully defend before, but they are changing up their strategy here. King maybe just outright breaking this door at the start of the round and looking for the shots onto Ripster as they try and plant the foam. Nade comes through underneath and doesn't get far enough to kill Ripster. Full control here outside of B. Minus a door blocker denying them some entry. Stewart and Hollow waving hello to the Ultraviolent drone. Oh, and right as they peek out, the smoke is deployed. Stewart's not going to see anything. The whole team working their way through the doorway and trying to fight off Ultraviolent. Jack finding kills. Hollow scoops up one over the top. Stanky barrels through to get rid of them. Space on a rotation. They're getting shut down on the other side, and looks like Cheek might be up next on the flank attempt. Did not go well for anyone else on the team, but maybe with an RCP in hand they can make a difference. Weak moves, pops out, Phil finds the frag. And now King can't get into the objective room before getting shot by 3 or 4 different attackers. They do at least get one over the top, but Ultraviolent are running away with this series right now. And our setup phase, rather obviously uneventful, but interesting to see a couple of door blockers. Nothing really around A, surprisingly. And if anything, it's just Stewart on the pistol here inside the main lobby. It's going to be Space, likely running into the first bit of action. Oh, and peeking anywhere around here is very risky. The breakthrough of the window, the door, very vulnerable. There it is. The window goes down, door opens up, hatch wide open as well. Too many angles to cover, and they've made their way in. Another headshot to start things off, and the push onto the stairwell defense. King pops out to try and catch Ripster, but can't. Cheek suddenly is alone with an RCP on the bottom floor, and Ultraviolent are playing map 2 with a bit of a vengeance. You can tell Laughingstock's bit of a disadvantage on this one. And I suppose I predicted Ultraviolent definitely being a strong attacking team on this map. I do feel like if it did come down to map 3, we would see a pretty good contest coming in from Laughingstocks on Skyscraper. But this series should be won by map 2. We will still play Skyscraper out, so we will get to see if Laughingstocks approach that map 3 with some serious focus. We could see them doing pretty good on the attacking rounds on map 3. I do think that Ultraviolent still are super coordinated and a synced up team that works 5 pushing together on Skyscraper also does work quite well. So, you know, well, we'll have to see. What that looks like. For now, there's an outdoor setup coming in from Ultraviolent. Nice flash coming in. No one is home. Utility flying through the garage. Sheik pops up to catch 1 kill. Cheek and Hollow holding things down as Hollow tries to find shots through the door. Has to fall back. Cheek's still here in the corner, and Ripster almost doesn't spot him. They survive a little bit, drop back, get tagged, a touch through that penetrable wall, excuse me. Door blocker gonna get taken down by Stanky. And they have control of garage. It's down to the 3. And Ripster's setting up to breach the other side. Space almost going down through blind fire. tries to peek out, and Stanky shuts it down. Stewart here on the corner. Stanky can't shut that down. Ripster breaches in. Stewart has dropped back. Vaulted up onto a little bit of an upper floor, and not upper floor, a little bit of a box there. The plant will come in, and I do think Stewart might save here. If they do, I think... Oh, no, they're not saving. They're pushing out. Ripster stays tucked in, though, and doesn't catch that pop. They'll get the short corner peek, though, and the snap does not come in time. Ripster finds the final kill. 5-0 for Ultraviolet here on map 2. They are really running away with this momentum. And Laughingstocks get their final buy, essentially. Well, no, they do get their final buy before we swap sides, go to a economic reset, and go into pistols. And at least they have the ability to get 3 rifles in hand. A Cadillo coming in from Cheek. Not ideal, but better than nothing. I almost feel like an RCP is a little bit more effective than a Cadillo, but I suppose at that stage it really does come down more to preference than anything. Play here in motion for Ultraviolet. Everyone going to what seems to me to be very clearly designated positions. They're all getting set up well in advance. Both hatches open. Drones coming through. And no one home here on B. Stairs going to be worked through by weak moves and Phil. Trying to clear out anyone on the corner. Space takes big nade damage. And they do drop back off of what is a attacking team barreling down towards them. Ultraviolet with 5 alive are pushing confidently in to the objective. Hollow with no chance to peek out through all of the fire. King and Cheek. And a 2v5, and Phil cuts it down to a 2v1. Almost like a different team coming through here from Ultraviolet. In map 2. Much more clean on their pushes in. Much more coordinated and hideout. I believe the no, factory is the original map, I think. But hideout definitely one that Ultraviolet have very good control of. A little gritty thrown down by King there. Dancing on their own grave, maybe, or Ripsters. The first headshot, looking for the second. There it is. Funneling themselves in. As King now looks to rotate through the door. Blocker finds a third. A 1v3. 2, excuse me, coming up now. As the triple comes through, just like that. Can't find Phil to wrap up what would have been a nice ace. Known at Phil and weak, but still a nice try. 6 points into Ultraviolet's hands, and we swap sides, putting Laughingstocks on the attack, and everyone back to the pistol rounds. Ooh, and interesting to see how Laughingstocks are going to attack this one. The standard sort of breach and control, like we've seen come through from Ultraviolet, or a little something different. I think, as I've seen in most shooters, we could see Laughingstocks go onto this rotation and approach from the upper floors of this side, or even the bottom floor of this side, because this is where they seem to stack their defense up. The 2 rounds they were defending this objective whereas they did not have a very heavy B defense. It was definitely more A-sided. We're seeing here on the opposite, to the other side of the spectrum, Ultraviolent are very much heavily set up on B. 4 stacked up over here to fend off what could be several different breach points, stairwell entries, Stanky on the roam, but ultimately very little coverage around A site, which means easy entry in and an easy breach in through A. That's off a defensive smoke with a beautiful nade that bounces through and almost catches King trying to plant. Stanky rotates around to get one, but Space was smartly watching for that aggressive placement position from Stanky. Door is breached and everyone drops back away from the breach point. Opening up the other side. Finding the first kill. Weak moves here, holding things down, scoops up one. Tries to fend off Stewart, flashed, and Stewart still goes down. Hollow and Cheek alone. Oh, and Jack completely unaware that Cheek was going to be poking through the B side. There was no breach here, so it makes sense. But Phil is ready. They redeem their teammate from getting completely caught off guard. And they try and get the final kill, but Hollow 1-2 taps Philibus down, and now it's Weak Moves alone to fend off this entry. They could certainly use this one. Weak Moves trying to clutch up the series for Ultraviolent to push out, and they don't. Hollow finds the headshot. Weak Moves was watching left, had gun held in front of them, didn't find and react quick enough to the peek out from that front. Oh, man. Still, though, another pistol round is in order. I say that. Seeing a couple of buys coming in from Laughingstocks. 2 rifles from Space and Hollow and RCP. Laughingstocks celebrating their survival. But how long can they keep it going? 1 round is not a streak. And they need 6. Technically 5. To only tie this map. They cannot even win map 2 with the current scoreline 6-1. I also do appreciate the insight coming in from those of you that are tuning in on YouTube. Yeah, and of course, it's... Ooh, Philibus catches the first kill on the King. It's a good way to start. Cheek is trying to get rid of Jack inside a garage. Jack, of all ones, maybe the most dangerous with a pistol to challenge. They're not going to continue that challenge, though, and the rest of this team has worked their way up into the main lobby. Still, though, not ultimately where the objective is. They got to work down in through the hatch. Weak Moves shuts down Space. Hollow has the hatch open on A. That isn't quite enough. Stanky finding kills. Laughingstock just not able to find the coordination that we were seeing from them on the attack on that last map on Factory. There's one. The RCP finding its first kill. Looks for more, and Jack shuts it down. Almost got caught out. Familiar position for Hollow to find themselves in, alone. That's the last one alive on their team. Maybe now regretting that they don't have a Vezin in hand. They're really just kind of hoping for someone from Ultraviolent to be getting aggressive on their rotations. Trying to catch anyone out through window peaks. Just find a kill. Hollow pushes in, finds Ripster. RCP is there. Are they going to pick it up? Doesn't matter. Time ticks down. Round ends. And the series goes into the hands of Ultraviolent because Hollow doesn't push on the final round. An interesting way to lose map 2. But that's how it goes. And round 2 goes into the hands of Laughingstocks. Excuse me, Ultraviolent. Oh, I got the teams crossed up there as they swapped at the end. 10-5 from Stanky. Phil and Ripster still performing well for the casting squad. 8-5 and 9-3 respectively. But 2 maps very cleanly executed by Ultraviolent, and our third one to wrap up the series here will be on Skyscraper. I do think it's a chance for the Laughingstocks team to get a couple of points on the board and maybe even a map. If they can do that, it'll minimize the damage done on this loss. It's only their second loss of the preseason. And so they want to make it less impactful. You know, we've really seen big wins coming through, and only a couple really highly contested back and forths. Maybe that's just because it's hard to keep the team energy and momentum going into that 5th map, or into that 3rd map once you've lost your first 2. I don't know, but teams really are not contesting heavily the 3rd map when it does come down time to play it out. We are waiting, I think, for a roster swap on the Laughingstocks side, as they do have one drop, and hopefully we'll be jumping back in soon. Oh, it looks like we're getting a 5-minute break. So a brief pause before we play out our final map, and I think we'll stick around to bring you that action. I am interested to see how Laughingstocks does. I'm seeing some comments here. Stop casting Ultraviolent. They're winning too hard. Yeah, I mean, they did lose one series so far in this preseason, you know, so they are beatable. But yeah, we have seen actually a couple of teams really performing, even in week 4, very well. You know, there still is some teams that are just so much more developed as a team than others, you know, and you're really seeing that with the coordination from some of these squads, with the map knowledge, the economy management, you know, it just overall is very evident when you see a team that knows and understands this game better than a team, you know, some of these what are a lot of brand new teams to the game of Breachers. It's always a good time, if there's ever any, to start playing this game with the preseason just starting now. Season 1 coming up in 3 weeks. Or no, not 3 weeks. The end of the preseason in 3 weeks with a 7-week preseason. From there, we'll play out a tournament where we'll take the top teams from each region in the preseason ladder and have them compete for a chance to be crowned 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in the inaugural VRML preseason. That obviously comes with the reputation of being the top team in the preseason, and I'm excited to see how those teams then carry that energy on to Season 1, where we'll have prizes coming in from our sponsors, who include ProTube, VR, and HyperX, as well as Triangle Factory, all three of them supporting the VRML and bringing you this Breachers preseason and Season 1. We're so far thrilled with the attendance, the amount of teams playing. There's tons of new players jumping into the preseason to just get prepared for Season 1, start to figure out the game, learn the mechanics, understand the meta, understand the economy management meta, and even then, for these top teams, innovate on it. We're seeing teams trying to figure out new strategies, new ways to play this game. Is the RCP a viable tool to bring into full rifle buys? Is the Taurus a viable tool to bring into full rifle buys? It's all stuff that gets tested and gets figured out by teams like Ultraviolent and Laughingstocks, teams that are playing competitively and playing tons of matches in multiple leagues. It's fun to see some very dedicated players coming in and playing this game, and we're happy to have Phil and Ripster on the casting team to support and really provide a fantastic bit of insight into the meta of the game as they're watching it. So I really have had a good time casting with Phil and looking forward to more with them. But for now, we get to cast Phil, as it looks like we are ready for round number 3. Map number 3. Round 1. We should change the verbiage to maps instead of rounds, because in the maps there are rounds. But regardless, it's map 3. And Laughingstocks, I do not believe, have won a pistol round in any of the maps. But they are certainly focused here, as their entry seems coordinated. Jack is waiting for any sort of second floor pushing or rotations out of the stairs. A little bit of early exchanging with Stanky on the aggressive rotation out here. Catches one. Smalls swings out to catch that aggressive push, and while that's happening, Ripster and Phil finding a couple of kills over the top. Or just one, actually, as it's still a 4v3. Teamwork synced up. Entry into A. Kills coming in on the back end as Weak Mover swinging in. Ultimately doesn't have the strong moves they need to catch that double kill. And can they get the EMP plant in time for the extra 200? I do not think they did, but a couple of the attackers on Laughingstocks will be able to buy into rifles. I see some questions coming in. How do you determine which teams play? In the VRML, we use something called the MMR system, the matchmaking rating. If you win, you go up in rating. If you lose, you go down in rating. And each week, you are paired up against an opponent that is close to you in rating. It's ultimately how all of the VRML leagues work. And it's what you can expect whenever we bring a league to a different VR game is that weekly matching with that rating system that is governed by wins and losses. And so, to the point, Laughingstocks will be going down in rating, and Ultraviolent will be going up, so that means next week, Ultraviolent will get, in theory, a harder opponent. We continue to see these teams win commandingly in their matchup so far. And I think it is more so a testament to the skill of a team like Ultraviolent. But Laughingstocks have started map 3 here nicely. And like I said, Skyscraper I feel like will lend itself to the strategy of attack that Laughingstocks seem to prefer, which is stay spread out. 2-1-1 splits. Who's here waiting will go down. Small Fury picks up a double with the shots through the long hallway. Breaching Foam coming down. They may be able to catch Stanky with almost those blind fire through the breachable wall. They pursue a very low HP Stanky, and Stanky's tucked in now with Stewart, the distraction, Hollow pushing through. And Smalls almost catches the full ace. King getting Ripster, ultimately ruining it, but a very solid round from Laughingstocks here going into map 2, or map 3. Fully equipped Ultraviolent defense now, as we are seeing their economy system coming into fruition for round 3, where you would see Laughingstock struggling to buy or not buying at all. We are seeing 4 rifles into the hands of the team, with Jack taking the Taurus. All of those rifles having the attachments necessary, thanks to Jack. And ooh, a little swap coming in there. Stanky taking the Taurus. Jack hasn't been connecting with the headshots, and so maybe it's why we're seeing the swap here. They're not feeling confident with it. King does put the defense on alert for a potential Bree entry. Hatch is available as well, so could be something that this team is working towards. This hatch or the other one. Definitely this one. Breach. Jack is covering it, but Utility is following it through. Oh, that flash bounced off the inside, back up, and caught all 3 of them on the upper floor of the breach. Nade goes down. It's a nice bounce to the back of Jack, but the breach is here. Jack rotates out, and Stewart Ripster, the pinch coming through. Ripster finds the final kill. King on the other side doesn't make it through the window. Is looking for a fight, though, but ultimately won't find it with Ripster tucked in and Jack not peeking too far. Although I say that, and Jack now commits to the push-up. King dropping off of the window just at the right time, anticipating Jack's rotation. And it's King and Cheek in a 1v4. I feel like King trying to bait a vault out of the window. And Ultraviolent wisely staying tucked in. Cheek goes down. And King so close to objective. Does get scooped up by Jack Possible, who went outside on the other corner there. Catches the kill, and Ultraviolent are right back into this one. I see the question, what's the grand prize? We haven't announced it. More info will be coming around Season 1. For now, it's training. And these teams getting the practice they need to prepare for Season 1. I can at least assure you that there will be prizes from our sponsors, like ProTube and HyperX. But we'll see. More will be coming out closer towards the Season 1 start date, which again is, well, a couple of months from now. King finding 2. Jack shutting down the stairs as King rotates around to scoop up another. Everyone drops in, and Stewart finding a lot of blind fire. The door blocker and static emitter stopping their entry in. Do they have the breaching foam to get rid of that door, or are they going to try and go through the door blocker and then nade the emitter? That's a good emitter, too. It's placed just around the corner. Very hard to get rid of unless you throw a grenade there. It almost has entirely deterred the attack from pushing through that doorway. Oh, and because they've delayed, Phil is able to rotate it around the backside. Looking for more with utility coming over the top. King stuck in an incendiary. It forces the push out. Phil finds the shots to the back. Stewart pinched. Is going to completely drop off. Maybe the wise choice. As Phil was getting hungry for the last kill, pushing through here. No one is home, though. Stewart completely has dropped off. Has the active camo on. Pretty tough to detect. May give them the advantage on the peak initially, and there it is. Phil goes down. A minute left for the rotation for Stewart to catch Ripster. How do they want to make this approach, though? Man, and they dropped so quickly to get down to that hatch. That was crazy. They're here in A. They have the EMP. They're planting. Where is Ripster? Rotating in time? I don't know. The camo's out. They peeking, and they catch the headshot. They'll get the defuse, and it will be a tie game. Ultraviolent just barely clutching up. Round number 4. Solid job, though, on that claw back in. And for now, we're at essentially a even battlefield. Everyone able to full buy, everyone with a little bit of extra cash in the pocket. Laughingstock's not as much as Ultraviolent right now off of that back-to-back Ultraviolent win. They've had to dip into their slush fund and ultimately find themselves pretty dry at the end of the day. Cannot afford to lose this one, or they're going to have to eco. Still, though, spirits are light, and Laughingstocks have done well to battle up against a team that a lot of people say is very tough to defeat. Players like, Stanky in particular playing well here today. Although not this map, 1 and 4. They did last map. An interesting pick to start things off. We're seeing a bit more patient of a team here, though, now that they have lost those last few rounds. Maybe it's the change in objective placement, though, but this is an interesting double stack into this corner. Ripster and Weak Moves are looking to do something a little cheeky, it seems. Oh, and there's the trap. Weak Moves, springs it. Ripster can't spring it twice. Cheek certainly to be ready for it again. But a very nice play. Door blocker, the next major threat, honestly. Weak Moves could pop out of that at any point on the setup here. Oh, and no one has eyes on. Hollow is waiting. Smalls continues to find some kills here. Get rid of the trip mine. Door blocker is up next, and Smalls does push in through, but Weak Moves holds the tight corner, flies out to find Cheek as well. The pings coming through on their potential push out towards them, and King shuts that down. Trip mine does damage, and Stanky finds the headshot to turn this into a 1v1. Tied up 2-2 in map 3. Oh, and Stanky not ready for the swing from King. They didn't even know that they had made it inside already, or that that wall was breached, because obviously they couldn't see. But a big round win, and Laughingstocks maintain a lead, up 3-2. I think it's a testament to how good Ultraviolent played those first two maps, that they were really dominating the wins. Laughingstock are clearly showing a solid ability to coordinate, hit their shots, and attack well here on Skyscraper. Ultraviolent really getting tested on their third map, and maybe they're feeling less pressure, but you do want to maximize your wins. When they've taken the first two so dominantly, they, I would imagine, want to do the same here. But it is hard to keep the focus going for as long as they have. And they've had to, because Laughingstocks have been testing him. Hideout, though, was very much a dominant performance by Ultraviolent. Drone doing a lot of work. Smalls flies through, catches the first one. Finds Jack. Jack cannot connect onto the headshots there. Oh, and there's the Smalls Fury Rifle. Winning, but Ripster shuts down the foam plant. Blind firing their way through that wall to catch a kill. On the other side, we do have Weak Moves slowly working a rotation. They're going to catch the first kill. They'll drop back, and Cheek and King are found a bit of a tough bind. Oh no, as Cheek goes for the breaching foam, Weak swings out. Two are here. Oh, and so 1 HP left for Weak on the corner. Ripster will wrap things up through the doorway. And we reset even 3-3. Swap sides. And Ultraviolent get their hands on the attack rounds. We have seen teams pushed together as a squad quite successfully on this map, so if Ultraviolent stick to the strategy they've been showing so far, we could expect a little more of that. But I do appreciate everyone that is tuning in and hanging out and enjoying the action. I see a bunch of folks dropping by and saying hello. We do appreciate your support. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the notifications button so you get notified when streams are going live, because there are quite a few of them. We have a lot of broadcasts getting put out there. You can catch a lot of different teams from different ratings playing your favorite game of Breachers. We really do appreciate all of the support that has come through already. We did go over 300 subscribers just earlier this week, and we really do appreciate that milestone. Looking forward to 400 as we're already well on our way. Jack Possible may be on their way to 400 Taurus headshots. As Smalls is here. They'll win that shot. No health syringe available, though, so the nade's going to have to do a lot of work. Ooh, and they do actually pick one up. Oh, weak moves actually sees Small's back popping through the wall. Or maybe they don't. I don't know, because Weeks was going through the wall there. Either way, they both peek the corner, and Smalls finds the kill. A big roaming play here on the pistol round for Smalls has really shut down Ultraviolent on this not even objective floor. Just listening for those footsteps, ultimately not hearing much. I have 1:20 left, but it's a 1v4. And they were rotating around for the EMP. Cheek is pushing here, and Phil not going to be ready for it. Pistol round 2, Laughingstock. They continue to keep their lead. 4-3 now. Meanwhile, Ultraviolent going to have to go full eco again. Not a lot of cash coming in on Laughingstocks, but enough for 2 rifles. A risk to buy into it, but we have seen teams taking that risk. Ooh, and it looks like an unfortunate disconnect coming in from Ultraviolent. Losing one of their 5th. Doesn't mean that Xavier comes in and ultimately spends the cash that they would otherwise be saving. You can reconnect in time. I've seen it happen, and sell what the bot buys. But I don't know that that's going to be the case. And yeah, Ultraviolent are going to be at a 4v5 disadvantage going into this one. Nade comes out. Ultimately doesn't catch Ripster. Ripster, I didn't even know you could put door blockers on windows, but works down the door blocker on the window. While they're trying to fight, Smalls is taking apart the rest of the team. We missed it. Shut down everything over there. Final map definitely slowed down in pace, though. Ultraviolent seemingly much more confident on hideout. And Smalls, I believe, with the ace on the round. 20-4. We're going to have to keep our eyes on them going into the next one. They're really locking it in for Laughing Stock here. Ultraviolent have the option to full buy at least now. So do Laughing Stock, and so we should see the full force of Ultraviolent coming through. They also did get that bot removed, so they have everyone in. I do believe it was a sub that comes through, though, for dysfunctional there. King holding down the vent entrance. Should get identified, throws counter nades and incendiaries as Ripster pushes down through and almost catches the headshots on the King. Smalls getting aggressive, swinging outside. Does get tagged up a bit. They've been hunting kills and finding them so far. But now they're away from the action. Ripster flies out for a triple while they're distracted from the rotation from weak moves. Completely puts Ultraviolent in control. And Vezins and Health Syringes available for anyone that needs them on Ultraviolent, but everyone does have rifles in hand. An odd static emitter placement, maybe a missed drop. Hollow finds the entry, finds the double, and Stewart shuts down. Ripster pushing through. Laughing Stocks are a round away from taking map 3. I don't think this is how Ultraviolent imagined this one going, but Laughing Stocks have completely swung the momentum here, and imagine if this was the third decider, what a series this would have been for Laughing Stocks. They just couldn't get control of things at the back half of Factory. They got close several times, but ultimately not enough. And they now find themselves in a very good position. Fully kitted, going up against a fully unkitted Ultraviolent. That was Ultraviolent's full investment round. They needed that one to start their comeback streak. Now the best they can do is tie this. Seems to be some debate on the trip mine placement technique. Cheek almost gets team killed. Hollow shooting those bullets just over the corner of their head. Doing a little bit of athletic squats. Or at least pretending to. A Hail Mary round for Ultraviolent. we're seeing an interesting play here. Breaching that door to open up the long, a bit of a more peek through the hatch. And just flying in through the hatch. Stewart finds 1-2. Dysfunctional goes down over the back top there. And Small Furies comes pushing in from the top floor. Who's left? Phil, alone in a 1v3. Taurus in hand and getting pressured. Almost banking on Laughing Stocks going after them. Which is what's going to happen. King comes out. They can't connect on the headshots. And King locks in a map 3 for Laughing Stocks. The only map they secure, but they get one. End of the day's scoreline is, oh, the math. 17 to 10? No, 17 to 11. Does mean that Laughing Stocks will go down in rank, but not as much as what we've seen. More dominant wins coming in from Ultraviolent, 21-3. You know, those 20 round wins definitely do set them up much better going forward here. So solid job from, again, I was just looking at the stats there, 21-6. I got distracted in my train of thought when I saw 21-6 from Smalls. Putting up a 20-plus kill round map in a league match, no less, up against a team that is arguably one of the top 5-10 teams in the league right now. So pretty solid. Definitely someone to look out for on Skyscraper at the very least. Overall, a fun series to tune into, and I do appreciate everyone that did stop by, but that will be it for us here this afternoon. Shout out to Xstadium for putting our games onto the platform. Shout out to ProTube VR, HyperX, and Triangle Factory for supporting the VRML. My name is Ben Nightfire with 2 E's. Thank you all for stopping by. Until next time, stay classy.